Hello, parents and wrestlers. We'd like to welcome you guys to our preseason fall 2020. We're going to have a little bit different protocol than we're used to, obviously because of all the COVID things going on. So we'd like you to watch this short video along with your wrestler so you know exactly what to expect when the season begins here in a couple weeks. We don't want to make any mistakes on following all the rules because we don't want to ruin anything for the rest of the season. So please help us behave. So first thing, make sure you're registered. Everyone has to be registered. We have to be able to count for everybody and know where everybody's at in case we should need to do any contact tracing. We did make a change to the times. We did have to bump them to a half an hour earlier. So now the 2nd through 5th graders start at 5 and the middle school kids start at 6:45. We had to make that change. You should have gotten a notice of that already. Next thing you got to keep in mind is that once we get to September 1st, not earlier, but September 1st, but before we start actually practicing on the 7th, you need to go online and sign up for a USA Wrestling card. There's a fee for this. You get one every year. Normally we do it for you as part of your regular season membership, but because we're starting things earlier, you need to do it independently. However, when the regular season starts, that dollar amount will be deducted from whatever our dues of our membership fee ends up costing this year. But you have to do that. You cannot come into the wrestling room without a USA Wrestling card. And once you have that card, it's good for a full 12 months. So you can wrestle anywhere, any tournaments, anything like that. There's also a facility waiver that you need to sign. I realize everyone signed a waiver for our club, but the facility that we're utilizing, Push Wrestling, has their own waiver that we need to sign. So you need to go onto their website and do that. It'll ask you what date you want to sign up for the waiver. Pick September 7th. That's the first day that we'll be in the gym there. Our session will go September 7th through November 6th. That's our session 1. We are going to have an additional session after that, beginning the following week, going through the end of the year. That'll be session 2, obviously. And then if you hadn't heard, the IKWF season has been postponed and is starting on January 4th. So that's when we'll start our regular season. So we have 2 preseasons this year, if you will. All right, when it's time to start practice on September 7th, before you leave your house, please do these following things. Parents, please make sure that your kids have no symptoms and have no fever before you bring them to practice. Like I said, we don't want to ruin anything for the rest of it. If anybody has an issue and contracts COVID, we got to shut things down for a few weeks, and we don't want to have to do that at all. No risks. Make sure you go to the bathroom before you leave. We're trying not to use the bathrooms at the facility just to minimize people touching all kinds of stuff. So make sure the kids, especially little guys, hit the bathroom. Bring your own water bottle with your name on it. We don't want them getting mixed up at all. But bring your own water bottle. The water fountains cannot be used there. Bring your wrestling shoes and your regular gym shoes. We may do some activities outdoors, and you'll need your regular shoes for those purposes. So bring both sets of shoes with you every day. And definitely bring your mask. You're going to need that for entering and exiting the facility. You will not have to wear it while we're doing wrestling activities, but for entrance and exit, everyone has to wear a mask. And then bring a bag to put all your stuff in. We can't have stuff laying loose and getting mixed with other kids. Put all your stuff in a bag, preferably with your name on it, and we'll have designated bins for you to put it in. And if you could, especially for the first few days, plan on leaving a little bit earlier than you normally would because we're going to have a little bit of a protocol we have to go through to get into the gym. So when you come out to Push Wrestling, which is where we're hosting our preseason and very likely possibly our regular season, depending on how things go, you'll be coming off of Route 59. If you're coming from the south, you can turn right on LaSalle. If you're coming from the north, from 88, you will not be able to because there's a median there. So you got to turn earlier either on Deal or McDowell. As you come down LaSalle, I don't know if I got a little laser pointer action here. As you come down LaSalle and get to Bond Street where Push Wrestling is at, it'll actually say Larson on the building. It's a light-colored brick building that says Larson. Larson Engineering is the front of the building. Push Wrestling is actually the back of the building. So you won't put the Push Wrestling sign until you get all the way up there. All right, that's the address of the facility, 1488 Bond Circle. Drop your wrestler off at the front of the door by Larson. I'll show you where on the map here in a second. Make sure that your wrestler is wearing their mask when they're exiting the vehicle and in the lobby while they're changing their shoes, and they can take it off once they go into the actual gym. Coaches will be wearing our masks the whole time. We're going to take your temperature as you exit your vehicle. Anybody with 100.4 will not be able to wrestle that day. Hopefully you don't get surprised when that happens because hopefully you already checked it at home and you already know this, but we can't let anybody in if they're above 100.4. And we're also going to take attendance so we can track things. If there ever should be an incident, we'll know exactly who was there on what nights. The coaches will then direct your wrestler around the building to get over to the push entrance. Parents will not be coming into the entrance. We have to keep head counts as low as possible to follow the rules. So as you're coming into the parking lot, do not come in this back area. That's where the coaches are going to park. Parents are going to turn right in the front by Larson Engineering. Right in the front by Larson Engineering. And you'll pull up to the orange cone where there'll be a coach there with a clipboard and a thermometer, and that's where you'll be able to exit the building or exit the car. Little Adam Jr. will be right there hopping out of the car. We'll take his temperature to make sure everything's all good. And then you can either park in the parking lot right there and hang out and wait, or you can go run errands or do whatever you got to do. We have your cell phone numbers because you registered with them, so we can contact you if anything happened. There's also a lot of walking paths and stuff around there, so if you want to go do a jog or whatever, I'm sure you guys can figure that out. The wrestlers, once they exit and take their temperature, they'll head down the sidewalk, down the side of the building there that wraps around the whole building, following these yellow arrows until they come to the back of the building, where there'll be the push wrestling entrance. And there's a small lobby there where they can change their shoes and keep all their stuff in their bags like we had mentioned. Right over here on the right-hand side of the counter, there'll be a hand sanitizer pump. We'd like them to use that just to kind of minimize any risks there. Put all your stuff in your bag, and then you could go ahead and enter into the wrestling room. Once you're in the wrestling room and even in the lobby, we'd like you to try to maintain distance as best as you can from other wrestlers. We're trying to minimize any contact right now. Hopefully that changes later, but right now we got to do that. If the little guys need help tying their shoes, we can help them with that, although it's a good time to learn how to tie your shoes. Put all your stuff in your bag like we had mentioned. Take off your mask when you get into the wrestling room or right before you enter the wrestling room. The room is actually pretty big. It's a full Olympic-sized mat, so we do have a lot of space to work with. We will have little tape X's on the floor to kind of space people out so we can have everyone can have their own little designated area to minimize contact. For practice, most of you are probably wondering what a non-contact practice is going to look like. And quite honestly, I'm kind of wondering too. But Coach Adam, Coach Mike have this thing pretty well mapped out, and there's hundreds of ideas already. In fact, there's so much stuff that we might even have to cut things out of Adam's practice plan, which I know is a shocker to everybody. Everyone's got to be on their top behavior. We can't have anybody misbehaving. If anyone's misbehaving, goofing around, we're going to have to probably ask them to leave. We got to behave. There's a lot we're going to work on, though. There's tons and tons and tons of fundamental stuff that we need to address before the season begins, so we're going to work on that. But we're also going to do a good job of mixing in stuff. We don't want everybody being bored to death. So we'll have drills, we'll have calisthenics, we'll have games. We'll go outside and do some games out there as well. As soon as we are allowed to switch to full contact, we are going to do that immediately. So as soon as we get the thumbs up on that. But at the beginning, obviously, it is non-contact. Make sure you have those gym shoes with you because, like I mentioned, there is space outside that we can utilize, and we plan to do that. After practice is over, hand sanitizer again, please. Parents stay parked up in front of the Larson Engineering side of the building. If there are little guys that need help getting walked out, the coaches will walk them back out to the front parking lot. The middle schoolers should be able to figure it out on their own. When you get home, shower with soap, just like you always do after every wrestling practice. That's going to help with other disease spreading as well. It's a good habit to have. And if anything does happen, if for some reason you or someone in your household does test positive for COVID, please let us know. We have to notify the county. We have to notify other kids that were in attendance that night and do the whole contract tracing thing. Hopefully that never comes up, but just in case, if something does happen, please do let us know. If you do plan on helping us coach this year in the preseason or in the regular season, you need to get your USA Wrestling card just like you do every other year. If you're an existing coach, no big deal. You just fill out the form, do your background check, and move along. If you're a new coach, you do have to do training modules and testing as well. But you can't do any of these new cards until September 1st when the USA Wrestling calendar year flips over. And then you got to do that. If you do plan on coaching with us in the preseason, talk to Coach Adam. We have to do a little bit of a coach scheduling because we don't want 20 coaches there. We're trying to keep head counts low. So we only need like 4, 5, 6 people at any given night. So please talk to Coach Adam and we'll get a rotational schedule going. Hopefully that helps everybody out and everybody knows exactly what to expect on the first day. And if not, give us a call or an email and let us know and we'll help you out.